All I want any recruiter to know is that I'm so much more than just my resume.
LOL! Come on! We both know that all these recruitment platforms are only designed for the companies to get what they want. They don't care about candidates like us.
Not all, buddy. Have you heard of TAG?
Karan Roy, data scientist. Tag score 96%. Interesting.
That's me. And thanks to TAG, now she knows all about my functional, behavioral, technical, and all other relevant skills. TAG indeed is a game changer for me. When I signed up for it, it created this structured, validated, and enriched profile mapped across my numerous skills, knowledge base, and work experience, and created a score, my TAG score. The score and profiling help me present my best professional version to any employer. They can easily find what they need, and if I'm the right fit, my profile shows up instantly. This way, TAG not only helps candidates like me land their dream jobs, but also figure out where they stand amongst their peers, and also identify the areas they need to work on.
Wow, this is just the kind of candidate I need. I like how detailed his profile is. Should I even interview this guy?
See? This is how TAG is bringing clarity, communication, and dignity back for us candidates. It also gives me an access to a community of peers, career circles, thousands of jobs, and marquee employers like her to further aid my career growth.
Are you kidding me? Did you just get hired within minutes?
Wow, I just love the video. So welcome friends. Thank you for joining the third episode of our conversation series, which is Career Circle Live. This is on .NET Special. I'm sure this is extremely difficult for all of you to take out time on a weekday, but I can promise this entire time is going to be greatly enriched and you will have a great piece of information taken away from this session. I am Vishal Bhardwaj, going to be the host and moderator for this session today. Before I take you over, I'm sure some of our friends have joined the prior conversation series also. But for all those friends who have not been able to join the prior ones, a small context as to what this entire event and the series is all about. Our initiative of career circles as a community, our endeavor is to bring the recruiters, the industry mentors, the career experts, and the candidates all together on one platform, sharing all the information on a real-time basis. It's an exclusive Career Circle community, gives an abundance of opportunity for talent and opportunities in the market. It also gives you an access to all the mentors and the industry experts to enrich yourself and your knowledge about a particular concept and the domain. You also get a very great career advices and the insights specifically on the domain where you're currently working from, not just the employers, rather the great experts working in the same domain. And we also have a specialized programs and events the way we are doing it right now to further enrich your profile in your current domain. Now, what's Career Circle Live? If this is community, we always felt the piece of information that you get in doing a communication and a conversation, no other textbook can provide that. And that's our mojo of and a motto of providing that information to you, that can we bring the industry experts and candidates together and get all the questions answered which are there in the mind of all the candidates on the market, in the market, and help them with all the information pre-appearing for any interview or pre-evaluating any opportunity. With that, I also want to tell you that we really welcome all the questions. So please feel free to ask questions in case there are more, apart from the questions that I'm going to put forward to all my speakers today. All questions are welcome, and we will also award and reward some of the best questions that will come via chat window. So please leverage this opportunity at the right time. I'm now going to welcome my speakers. So we have two speakers with us, and it's my pleasure to introduce them to you. We have Neeraj Parsai, who's the talent,
Hi,
who's a
good
Microsoft
morning.
practice head with Vipro. Hi, Neeraj, pleasure to have you here. Neeraj, I was just briefly introducing yourself. Why don't you do the honors for yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Vishal. So, I've been almost a 2 decade working in IT industry, and mainly I work on native cloud solutions and hybrid solutions on Azure and Office 365 and .NET. Being a part of practice, we mainly do a new learning, new technology adoptions on .NET and Azure front. Being as a practice, we also come up with new patterns and practices which can help to execute the similar nature projects efficiently and technical quality. We also build technical capabilities in terms of resource grooming, make them help them to learn. We assist them in implementations if they have any challenges. We do analysis for different projects on periodic basis. So this is the overall perspective we do as a part of practice, and that is we are here to help you to understand the space where the .NET is heading and how this can be a career path for you guys. Yeah, Vishal.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you for being here and taking our time on a weekday for us. Friends, we have our another speaker, Srishti Lal, who is the TA head for Wipro Digital as a business. She's going to join in a few minutes. But while they join, Neeraj, we'll start with you. So, Neeraj, this
Sure.
session is predominantly for the candidates and by the candidate. That's what I prefer talking about. So, I'm going to ask a very basic question, Neeraj, that all our candidates who have joined this forum, they will have. But many times they don't get an opportunity to ask this question to the right person, and I want to make sure that today we may pass on that understanding to our people so that next time whenever they appear for an interview, they know exactly all those basics in that line. Okay, so my first question,
Right.
Neeraj, because this is about .NET, and you've been there about 2 decades, you mentioned, in Wipro. How do you evaluate .NET professional, when you screen some of the people who appear for an interview in Wipro? What do you see in .NET professional person?
Sure. Sure. So very first thing is we understand person, how the person is, what is his attitude about technology. That is the very first and important aspect of it. And then we'll go with how he understands the requirement as the overall perspective of a business. So that is very key about. So I have seen people who just focus on their requirement, implement, and move, go ahead. But that is not the case with us. We look for a person who understands the overall business, and then he tries to achieve a requirement implementation. So that is a very important criteria. Then second is that how effectively he does the problem solving. So a person should be keen on analyzing and doing more analysis and come up with more problem solving skills. So that is the area we also look into. That is very important in a person. And the third and the most important aspect is a technical learning. So if person is keep on learning or he's learning new things and adopting that into their implementation, that is the area we look. So these are the 3 areas we definitely look into a person when we interview.
Wonderful. Thank you, Neeraj. The
Yeah.
other piece, Neeraj, that often I ask, when I hear a lot of questions from the candidates that, how much experience is good enough. You'll find some of the people who have just started their professional career after academics, and there are people who've been in the system, been in professional arena for a long period of time. Now, when you evaluate somebody for an opportunity, right, a lateral or early career, right? So, what right mix you look forward to, and what you advise candidate that which area I think they need to get themselves to, the early side or a lateral side, which is more preferred by the organization.
Sure, sure. So as you rightly said, like so the people would be of in early stage of experience where they just come out of college and trying to get into a jobs. So definitely we look more the relative experience or expertise only which have gathered during their engineering or they have learned through some courses around. So we mainly focus on that area for the junior level, entry level people. But as gradually people have more experience, maybe 2 years to 4 years or 5 years, we'll look upon their experience, how they have gathered those experience, kind of expertise they have gathered in due course. So that is the way we do our interviews and try to understand a person, and how is effectively learning the things and growing himself in technical space.
Sure. And if I have a follow-up question, Neeraj, there, right? In Wipro, as an organization, on which side you have majority of the position? The early career people, let's say under 2 years, or the positions, where you have a demand of more than 2 years, 3 years kind of experience?
Yeah, so see, we definitely have a requirements at early entry level or junior level people, because those are comes with a fresh mind, and they come up with more energy. So definitely we need those people to join us. Definitely once they grow and learn things, definitely they'll be productive for us. So that is the people we are definitely looking forward.
Sure. And do we have a specialized training programs in Wipro for such kind of talent community and people?
Yes, definitely. So when they onboard or join us, we assess them, and we try to take their feedback on what kind of technology platforms or what kind of aspirations they have. Based on that, we do a training plan for them. We do a regressive training for them and do some periodic assessments for them, how they're progressing or coming up on the technology front. And we give a periodic feedback to improve on. And then once they are learned enough, we make them onto the projects, and that is how we do our onboarding for the new joiners.
Sure. Thank you, Neeraj. My other piece, Neeraj, that I'm sure all candidates would want to know, right? Irrespective of the domain, and we can take .NET, let's say, to a side right now. It's difficult to just understand and learn everything for any domain, right? You can't be an expert for any domain per se. It takes time, energy, and years to do that. So how much you believe that a theoretical understanding is good enough to crack an interview, and how much is a practical hands-on understanding is required? So do you actually see that somebody understand the concept is fine, may not have implemented that in their prior experience, but yes, somebody has an attitude to do this right now, or you look forward to somebody, somebody who's done everything in life and hire that person? How do you balance that kind of approach?
Yeah, so it's very good question, Vishal. So we believe in a person first. Okay, so we see that, as I said, like we look into the attitude of a person, how much is eager to learn new things and adopt them. So we definitely look for those people first, and knowledge is the first thing. Okay, so anything a person wants to take it up, he should do some homework and some knowledge learning around the area. Once he's on that path, we definitely expect person to do some hands-on. So hands-on, there are now we have different platforms available which can help them to do some sandbox exercises. So we prefer them to do those exercises so that they will not be surprised when they really go and execute on the projects.
Sure. Thank you, Neeraj. Now, I have one question, and it's because of my curiosity, Neeraj. I don't know if all our friends would like to ask this question, but I really want to ask this question, Neeraj.
Sure.
So I've been in my professional career, I've interviewed maybe about thousands of people, right? Because I'm in a corporate hiring, let's say, in domain, not a technical hiring.
Yeah.
One of the very important element that I see, while interviewing somebody is how comfortable the individual is. Somebody is smiling. I see smile as most important element. Now, I've been party to some of the technical interviews where I have not seen, kind of smiling that much, because I do understand the nature of work they are supposed to. Now, is that something is given for technical hiring? You feel that's very prominent, or you really appreciate people smiling in an interview, being confident and telling something about themselves?
No, so you rightly said it's very important. The person should be comfortable enough to have a discussion. So discussion is not about what are unknowns. Discussion is mainly about what they know about the things. So they should be comfortable. So it is the interview is not about discovering what person is lacks into or what. It is just to understand their profile. Where are they currently, and we can do a right justice to the profile. So it's really important to understand interview is not about to bully somebody or to trying to harass them. Okay, it's totally unfair in terms of person who's who's interviewing in this case. Okay, so be comfortable, be open, be joyful when you give an interview. So I feel that you will be more effectively communicating when you are in a comfortable state.
Wonderful. Thank you, Neeraj. On the same line, Neeraj, the same question. Yeah, it's a level plus in that way. Um, I think technology has brought a revolution in at least a dress code in our country, rather not in our country, but across the globe, right? I think the first time I've seen somebody, in shorts in office has been a technology organization. It has never happened in any organization. Now, the question here is that I have for our candidates also is how important is the dress code? For a technical kind of niche role where the expertise is required, the mind is required, where a dress code may not be that important, right? What you bring onto the table is important. But do we actually value dress code while interview? Is that important for a candidate?
Not really, but he should be well dressed enough in terms of we don't judge a person with the clothes, but at least he should be neat and clean when he comes to for interview, so that we understand how important for him an interview. Okay, so that is the attitude we need in a person. So at least he should be focused and he should be neat and clean when he comes for an interview. Otherwise, we don't look at clothes, what kind of clothes he's wearing and how what kind of background he's having in the discussions and all. So we definitely won't bother about it. So first is the knowledge, and that the person how is focused in the interview or how keen is to attend the interview.
Sure. So as a candidate, Neeraj, right? I may be extremely expert. I know how to code. I know how to get things integrated with the database and all that, right? But I may not be great in communicating that. That normally happens. When you're extremely good in doing something in isolation, but when it comes to communication, passing the on, you may not be that supernatural, right? Do you believe that the people with a very high communication level may not, maybe let's say less technical ability, score high in an interview? Or you believe a higher technical ability, a moderate communication scale well? What is the right combination in that?
So communication is very important, to make things understand. So how project starts is with the requirement understanding. So if you won't collaborate and understand requirements, you cannot implement them effectively. So what you understand, you should speak out, and that is where the quality we need in a person who comes out for interview. At least he should be able to communicate his understanding, or he can communicate with the partners who are sitting remotely effectively, so that they can collaborate and work. That is the key. So basic communication is very important. When person we hire, we look into that. Definitely, the technical aspect is really important for a person who will be onboarding. So he should be able to implement requirement with the required skills.
Sure. Yeah. And now, Neeraj, specific to Wipro, right? So all our friends who are listening to this session, I'm sure they want to join Wipro and they want to apply for an opportunity there.
Yeah.
If you, as a leader, Neeraj, if you can help us, that what are the rounds of interviews that normally happens, let's say for a .NET skill in Wipro, and
Sure.
which round is important for what kind of skill evaluation? So what happens in that interview? So our audience will take that away, prepare, and possibly next time you see them, you will select them. That's the idea of asking that question.
Sure, Vishal. So generally we have 3 rounds. So important part is the first round where we try to understand person's technical abilities, which are very important for any project where he'll be working on. So we'll look into all the aspects of expertise and knowledge he gathers in due course. And once we evaluate that, definitely we'll have another round, which will be a managerial round. So managerial round, we try to understand person's soft skills and other qualities about a person, what kind of attitude he brings up to the table. Definitely would be HR round, which talks about his overall aspirations and kind of planning he's having about and what he thinks about organization. So those aspects and enumeration part of it. So generally we have 3 rounds, but if any different task comes from a customer, there could be small variations into that.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Neeraj.
Yeah.
So another question, Neeraj, that I get approached to, and people normally ask this question is that technology is like an ocean. You add one more nomenclature of skill, it becomes a different combination of skill altogether. So the learning never stops in technology. That's what everybody says. Many times we have also seen that some technology gets obsolete and new technologies emerge. That has been the trend over the period of time. Now, so I have two parts of the question, Neeraj, coming back to the point there, that how do you see the .NET landscape is going to change in next 3 years, 4 years, right? What are the new opportunities that will emerge in .NET? And the second, there would be some career aspirants who wants to switch career from an X technology to .NET technology, right? So what are those USPs, Neeraj, that you want to tell them saying, this is why somebody should get themselves to .NET as a domain?
Sure. So see, if we see the .NET, where .NET is heading. So .NET also coping up the market needs and demands. So currently, everywhere it is a cloud. So everywhere there is a transformation happening to adopt cloud and have a cloud footprint about it. So .NET is also heading towards that. At the same time, .NET is becoming a unified solution for developers. So when I say unified solution, what the plan is in next 2 to 3 years is to make it more stable, a platform where developers can come and build all the applications which are related to web, desktop, Android, iOS, on all the aspects, the cross-platform application development. So .NET is also heading towards that. That is the key aspect where the Microsoft is also working very efficiently on that area. So that is where I see the focus area of .NET. So cross-platform apps development is going to be the area where that .NET is going to be placed in next 2 to 3 years. And it's becoming more stable. So they introduced this thing recently, and they're working on that to come up with more stable versions on that.
Wonderful. And Neeraj, if I may ask, right, and if you can answer this question, because I do understand from an organization standpoint, of the total volume that Wipro hire, let's say in terms of the requirement, what percentage is contributed by .NET in that?
So if we talk about the overall, if we talk about it will be around 20 to 30% of overall employee strength we hire around .NET and Microsoft platform. So that is the flex you can imagine about. So if you talk about more than 2+ lakhs employees, you can easily calculate on the 30% from 20 to 30% range of that would be on the Microsoft landscape. Yeah.
Okay, sure. And Neeraj, is it important to have certifications beyond your academic degree? So, for example, I'm a BTech and or I'm an MTech something, but I don't have certifications. I've been working throughout all my career. But some candidates may come back saying they are an academic enthusiast. They have done their BTech, MTech, and they've done multi-certification down the line. Is it important for an individual? You feel those people are have a better chance of cracking interviews with certification, or you believe if you have a hands-on understanding, just a degree, it works absolutely fine?
I mean, there is no match of experience first. Okay, so experience speaks a lot about a person, but definitely certifications help them to stand out. Okay, at any given point. So how certification helps is to understand the complex skills, technology. So certification will give them a path where they can understand the 360 length and breadth of a technology. So certification is also important. So suppose if there are two person who are equivalent, definitely if he is having certification would get advantage. So that is how I see. But as in person, individually, it helps a lot to a person to groom himself on new technologies, technology adoption when he does certifications.
Great. Okay. So I think, Neeraj, with all this, I'm sure our audience will have a fair understanding of what works and what don't work, while cracking in an interview.
Yeah.
I have a very specific question, Neeraj, that normally we
Yeah.
don't hear in any of the forum. People will
Sure.
tell you about, please do this, XYZ, right? People don't tell you about what is something you shouldn't do. Now, in your experience, Neeraj, if I am an aspirant that I want to get inside Wipro, what are those 3, 4 things that you would recommend you should not do, right? And that's
Mhm.
something our audience will keep in mind while appearing for an interview down the line.
Okay. So as my personal experience, I will speak about it. Those definitely you rightly said many people says about and
Yeah.
don'ts hardly people talk about. So don'ts would be first is basically not to jump. Okay, or don't be so excited to move or try to get multiple things into your bucket. So have a focus, stay on the technology, try to understand and experience about it. And you may hear a lot of things in market, this is coming, that is coming and all, but I would suggest to give some time, at least a year to yourself on the technology to understand and get onto the new thing. So what happens is when you learn something, you can relate with that thing on the new adoption. But if you half learn about the thing and try to move to next technology or new learning or a new project, it will not benefit you in terms of understanding end-to-end implementations or solutions. So that is the first thing I would say. Yeah, and the second thing I would say about whenever you join any organization, give some time more in terms of understanding the culture, the kind of opportunities you have. And I see any organization which is in the market, if you stay there for long, definitely you'll be benefited with those all the ups and downs within the industry, and you will be benefited in terms of those up and downs definitely, and you will know how to make them downs into ups. Okay, so important to stay focused, learn. Definitely, you should not stop learning new technologies, because that is where the thing, all the game all about. So you keep on learning. So I've seen people, for example, I've seen people who are working on .NET framework and they're not keep on updating, wherein the technology itself is heading towards .NET to .NET framework to .NET Core. So we should keep on updating ourselves, do certifications, do new learnings to understand what is .NET Core, how we can learn about what are the capabilities in .NET Core. So learning is always a continuous exercise when you come to IT or IT industry. So don't stop learning.
Sure. And you just mentioned a very, very interesting point, Neeraj. And it's coming in from my own understanding. As I see technology in India, and I'm basing my discussion, to India, because other geography it may not be as complicated as we are right now. But I see stability is becoming one of the questions. So, for example, at least I see people jumping from one organization to another, let's say in about 6 months of time, with some benefits attached to it. And it's very prominent technology considering the talent pool we are at. Now, when you evaluate a candidate, and that goes an advice to our audience down the line, do you look at stability? Let's say somebody is working in an X organization for about 6 months. Now, again, looking for an opportunity in Wipro, right? So that could be candidate X. And there could be another candidate working in a prior organization 4 years and appearing for an interview. And I do understand that Wipro also have a customer inclination, for different accounts per se. But how does your as an interview evaluation changes for both the candidates, where the stability is the question?
Yeah, definitely it's a very important aspect of a person, to understand his attitude and the way he approaches the things. Okay, so if we need more stable people in terms of career aspects who wants to be a part of our organization. Okay, so we don't want techie guys who switch every 3 months and is very good at technology. So that is the aspect where it's really important. We will evaluate or recommend somebody for hiring. So we need people with a good mindset, stable mindset, and who wants to learn and grow with the organization.
Wonderful. Now, the most interesting question I will say that I'm sure everybody wants to ask that question. So, if I join Neeraj, Wipro today, what are the career progression opportunity that I get, right? If I spend, let's say, about 10 years, 15 years, what and how this progression happens? Is there an evaluation process at different stages that happens? And what's the sky? How far can I go in the organization?
Okay. So I would give you a few more streams into that. So
Yeah.
how it happens when the person joins Wipro. So we understand person's aspirations. He sits with HR, and then he'll be moved to the technical. So initially, definitely we need people to work on a technical stream, and we'll see like person's abilities. Okay, in the due course. So he will be a junior engineer, then engineer or developer, and then he'll become a senior engineer and developer. And then we'll see his potential, whether he can lead a people or he can still want, or his aspirations, whether he wants to continue as a technical expert only. So this is a time when we talk to a person and understand if he can own as a lead position. Lead can be of two natures. Okay, one he can be a project lead or he could be a technical lead. So that is the where we there is a bifurcation happens for a person who see his aspirations or abilities in terms of people management or wants to be as a techie guy where he can move ahead with all technical aspirations. So from here there is a bifurcation happens, and then on the project stream he can become a project manager, a senior project manager, delivery manager, and then delivery account heads and so on. So sky's the limit after that, based on the person's potential. He can become a VP or maybe a next CTO or CEO also. So there's no limitations around that aspect. And another stream is a technical stream, where a person can be a tech lead, senior tech lead, architect, senior architect, and a lead architect. So, and definitely it could be enterprise architect also. So in that stream also there are a lot of opportunities. There is a growth of aspects are there. So both the streams are very fruitful for anybody seeing as a career aspiration. So project stream and technical stream both are open for a person. But at certain stage only he can bifurcate. So initially he has to devote his time for 2 to 4 years, 5 years time to understand technology, technical landscape, how the life cycle is happening on the technical landscape. Then once he understands that, definitely he can take a call on whether he wants to go into project stream or be on the technical side of it.
Wonderful. And Neeraj, if I may ask, I know that with Wipro, one of the great USP that I hear about Wipro as a partner, that I've seen people spending about 15 years, 30 years, 45 years, means people joining the organization from campus and they're retiring from the organization. I have not seen in other organizations the same kind of vintage. It's extremely higher vintage in Wipro. That's a point I want to make. Now, because of that, right? How do you ensure that I'm sure there's something beyond engagement that happens in Wipro. Now how do you ensure that people joining you as a leader, how do you ensure them engaged in the system and growing inside the company?
Sure. So, we don't look people as a resource, we look people as a people, those are human, those are having emotions, and they have personal life and work life both. Okay. So, we definitely continue support them. We help them to have a balance between both of these part of life, okay, where they can work and at the same time they can focus on their personal aspects of life as well. So that goes side by side. Okay. So at the times they need to prioritize and give more time to work life, or at the times they need to give more time to private life or personal life. So we are human. We closely work. We work as a team. We collaborate and understand the needs, and we balance out that by speaking, communicating with them, closely work with them. So that is the nature of work. We are all human. We are all having emotions. So we respect their emotions and work together.
Thank you, Neeraj. Now, the other question I have, Neeraj, is in with all that happened about 2 years, 3 years back, right? When we've been through a pandemic year, that's what I call, right? The COVID happened and all this. And our way of operation, we've seen our world changing upside down. Entire way of operation changed dramatically. Some of the organization I see, working on site, means from the premises. Some of the companies completely working off site, no one at the premises. Some companies do have a hybrid model. Now, how does it happen with Wipro, in the current state, especially for the .NET paradigm, the kind of business that you are part to? What's the kind of blend there in terms of remote, on site, or completely off site?
Okay. So I'll give my personal view on that. So what I understood is hybrid solution is going to go high. Okay.
Sure.
So hybrid solution when I say is not about totally working from home. Okay. So I see there is a need of collaboration also. We need to have an interaction with people at the time. And I see like people should engage, come work in person also sometimes. So that is I see as going way forward. And I feel like that is very important now when we have seen this pandemic and we know how to work in a remote fashion and people still are productive. So I respect that, and this way they can be more close to their family and work on and be more productive on that aspect. But hybrid model would be a key here, where we can um, I see as a road ahead. So people has to collaborate at some moment, one time once in a month, or fortnight in a month, or weekly in a month. But it depends on the nature of work what they are into.
Sure. So if I'm a candidate, Neeraj, let's say, because all this happens, I move to my own native location, tier 3, tier 4 location. Now, if I appear for an interview, and I do understand it's a completely offline process of talent acquisition nowadays. Do I need to come over during my training time to office and get myself trained and then can work from my own location? Or it's a blend that I may have to come once in a fortnight, a week in office, and rest I can be at my native location. How would that work in the current stance?
Yeah, so trainings we are mainly doing remotely only, so there is no need to come. So how the person onboards, we facilitate all the services which require them to connect with us. Only thing is they should be available in the timings which has been dedicated for working with us remotely, and periodically definitely they have to come and collaborate with us so that we can have a rapport and bonding, and that is how we see like we should go ahead.
Okay, great, wonderful. My last question before I will pick some of the great questions. I can see on my chat window people are asking a lot many questions. We'll
Sure.
try and cover as many as we can, Neeraj. But before that, just last question. Um,
Yeah.
we know Wipro as a great brand. I think you name top 5 companies in India, and Wipro came at the top. And every time it happens, what's there on socials? I think everybody would know because you spend so much of time in Wipro. What are those 5, 6 USPs that you want to tell? All our audience that you may not find this in socials, but that's a reality. You've been witnessed to all those USPs of the companies while spending all that time. So can you please just tell us about 4, 5 things about Wipro which are not on socials?
See, don't see Wipro as an organization. Okay, I would say first thing it is a family. Okay, for everyone. So how we work with people within a family, right? So this attitude, if it comes with the person who's joining organization, so there'll be a different nature of people. There will be different attitude of people. But being as a family, we adjust with them and we work with them because we are family, right? So if you start with this attitude, definitely you're going to be more happy and be long serving within the organization. So I won't say all the people are very good and all the people are very human in nature. The people has the other side of it also. They may. So we should have a broader perspective in mind when we come in an organization. We'll be handling with or managing or facing different people, different set of mindset people. But if you go with this mindset, like we be as a part of family, we go ahead and adjust with the people. Definitely, there'll be really good output and productivity you feel within the organization. So that is a very key important thing I see in 2 decades. So whenever I go organization, I never feel like I have come for work. Okay, I came here to meet my friends, good friends, close friends. Okay, we do interactions, we do chit chat. Initially we never talk about our work. Okay, so we come and say hi, how are you? We go for a cup of tea and then roam around, and then we'll sit seriously and work on our assignments and tasks. So those kind of culture starts with organization, but definitely it definitely starts with individual. So that is what I would say. Okay.
Thank you, Neeraj. And I think Srishti is also there. Srishti, hi. Thank you for
Hi,
joining.
Hi. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Srishti. Srishti, I have the same question for you, right? I've seen you also scaling through the organization, and similar to Neeraj. Why don't you share your success story, Srishti, that how the career progression happened? The same happens to all the candidates in the company. So your story about Wipro that can attract and give more information to our audience today.
Sure. Thanks, Vishal. So, warm welcome to all the audience who have participated in this session. And I'm sure you must have had a great time till now. And I'm delighted to share my experience of Wipro journey. Just a quick note, this is the 16th year in Vipro, and I am handling the talent acquisition function for digital for last 4 years. It has been just a fantastic journey, if I can say. From if I can keep it crisp, I would like to say that, in Wipro you have done loads of opportunity, wherein I personally felt that there was no need to look for an opportunity outside the Wipro. Hence, changed every 2 years, 3 years, changed the role, taken up extra responsibility to cater to organization need, and at the same time prove yourself. That's wherein the growth happens. And it is also, I believe, up to all of us as an individual employee whether we want to scale up and do something different, right? It's where it you can always say that, organization is not giving an opportunity, but I personally believe what is it that we have done to scale up and create that differentiator for us. So the learning curve never ends. From the technology standpoint, we have done loads of projects. We are broad on technology, so I don't think there is any stoppage. Once you start, you can reach. There is nothing called infinity. So you can say leaders who are. I'm just 16 years, but our leaders that whom we are working with is more than 20 years in Wipro. So these are all fast track leaders, be it digital leaders. Say I would like to mention about Rajan Kohli, who's heading ideas, and he's the youngest president in Wipro. The charm and aura that he brings into the table, it's just, beyond words to explain. And Neeraj would definitely, echo the same thing, right, Neeraj? It's, you get so motivated feeling that, oh, at this age, we can do so many things. So Wipro is an employee friendly organization that gives you opportunity to explore what you want to, in a nutshell. And touching on to being a women employee, to all the women folks who are attending this session, I think it's an excellent work-life balance that our company extend to all the women employee. We don't differentiate just because somebody has got back from a maternity leave, and we understand there's a small baby that a woman employee needs to cater to, but we don't differentiate that since you have a small baby to cater to, we will not give you a larger responsibility. If you are keen and if you are able to demonstrate the outcome, we do believe in inclusivity, and I guess we practice this very well. So rest assured to all the women employees that, best place to work in, and I'm witnessing that, and I don't think beyond that I can say, because 16 years itself says everything. So yes, any specific questions I'll be more than happy to address, but I guess right place to work, grow, explore, and flourish.
I'm thrilled, Srishti. I'm sure all our audience also will be. And while we are talking, I'm sure half of them would have applied for a position in Wipro by the time we conclude. Thank you, Srishti, for sharing such an interesting story about you. Neeraj, I'm going to take some of the questions from the audience. I can see a abundance of questions coming through. I may not be able to talk over everything, but some of the ones I will pick up. So I have one of the question where our participant is asking that what is the scope of .NET in future? I think we did cover this question earlier, but there's an additional question. Is there any additional skill in which .NET candidates can upgrade themselves to be a future-ready talent?
Sure.
So that's the question.
Sure. So, .NET Core is a open source platform which Microsoft has come up with. So .NET Core is very key, which is really relevant for anyone to bring their expertise on. So I would say .NET Core is the first thing they should keep learning on. So it is going to be future of cloud also. All the customizations would be done in .NET Core. Specifically on the Azure Cloud Platform, and that can also support a lot of customizations. And the other things I would suggest about is the new user experience platform has come up with Microsoft's Blazor, and in addition to that, there is a MAUI, so multiple apps unified experience platform. So these are two additional skills if person keep learning about, definitely will have a good future ahead.
Thank you, Neeraj. The other question that we have is, it says C# is a very good language, but is it important to learn Azure platform, or can a candidate clear the interview and then get trained at Wipro?
Yes, C# is very important, language. That is the first thing the person should do as a part of learning language, because it's a base for anybody to do a coding. So even in .NET Core, everything is written into C# only. So And C Sharp is again supported for all the platforms, including Linux or Unix or Windows. So everybody should learn C Sharp. It's a key for person to start with.
Wonderful. I'm going to take the last question. It
Sure.
says, suppose a candidate has started his career with .NET Core, but with the technology evolving, companies ask for a different combination, example, core .NET with MVC. Now
Mhm.
I have only training in MVC, but companies ask for hands-on experience. How do I match to their needs?
Yeah. So, learning, there are different platforms are available for learning, but definitely, as I said, you are in IT space and learning is the key for you to upgrade yourself. So you should keep on learning that various forms are available. Microsoft has also provided a lot of MS learning platforms. You can refer to them. Okay. So keep on learning. There are different good exercises are available. You can touch base with us offline. We can guide you how to connect on those environments or platforms where you can learn. But definitely, .NET Core MVC related to .NET Core would be a way ahead for the future.
Thank you, Neeraj. I think with that, I'm going to conclude. So thank you, Neeraj, Srishti, for taking out time, especially on a weekday, to be with us and passing on all the understanding that we have covered so far. And for all the audience, if you want to participate and join this journey of Career Circle as a community, there's a link mentioned in the comment section. Please tag and get yourself registered there. And also stay tuned for our next episode. Every time I think we bring a new concept, and this session is all about you. So you asking questions and the questions responded bases the kind of information that you're looking forward to. So it's you and you in all the session. With that, I'm Vishal Bhaja. I'm going to conclude today. Thank you so much, and we look forward to connect again in future. Take care.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.